Welcome to the Change Your World book tour. We are in Bismarck. No, I finally got it right. We're in Bismarck, North Dakota, and we're ready to change your world. If you've watched before, you know that we have been anticipating this spot. We really have. We've got the Florida guys ready. We got coats. We got scarves. We've got toboggans is what we call them, beanies. We've got it all. We're ready to go. Only to get here, and it was 18 degrees last night, and they told me it was balmy in North Dakota. But it's not on the inside because I'm here in a room with women and men that are committed, just like you watching from all over the world. They're committed to change your world. See, today presenting will be two men that have truly changed the world at scale, at a magnitude that we'll share with you throughout the program today, but with something left undone that this book, Change Your World, we believe will solve. And that is to get you, me, Bismarck, North Dakota, Houston, Texas, everywhere we've been, to get you to change your world. And it's already happening in this room. In fact, I met Molly at lunch, and she's already got 17,000 government officials in Bismarck, or in North Dakota at large, learning the John Maxwell material, and they're ready for the Change Your World. You think North Dakota is changing already? In this book tour, it's really a book movement. We've been with companies, some of the largest companies in the country. We've been with some of the largest churches. We've been with some of the largest organizations. But today, we're in a state in the United States that is truly committed. I mean, top government officials in this room, because we're committed to changing our world, starting in Bismarck, North Dakota. And we want their enthusiasm to come through the screen and share with you the same common desire to change the world. That's why John Maxwell, Rob Hoskins wrote this book. In fact, today in the program, John Maxwell is going to share with you some things that will truly start transformation in you. I'm excited about what he's going to share. In fact, in this room, on screen, I'm going to challenge you, get a notepad, get a pen, because he will give you things that you want to mark down on paper that will get in your heart. In fact, he's going to share with you several components, questions that you will want to ask yourself to lead better. But before we get to John Maxwell, let me tell you who's coming right after John Maxwell, and that is Rob Hoskins. Now, you may not have heard of Rob Hoskins in One Hope, but there is a reason that he's writing this book, because you see, his organization has trained with values-based leadership, life-changing material. He has put material in 1.7 billion young people. Yeah, I did say billion, and I heard you say, wow, and it took me 5 minutes backstage to say billion and not million. Because billion is a magnitude. But you know what I love about Rob the most? And you will too. He's not satisfied with 1.7 billion or 2.7 billion. He's satisfied when he sees true qualitative, quantitative transformation happen in the lives of people. And you're going to get to meet him today. But before he comes, as I said, John Maxwell, he's written 86 books that have truly changed lives around the world. He has over 34 million of copies of his books in people's hands today. You ask me how I know? He's counting. And it's because every book sold, every book consumed means a life changed, and yours will be changed today too. Will you help me welcome to the stage John C. Maxwell?
Wow. Woo. Yes. Yes, thank you. Wow. Thank you. You may be seated. There is no place like Bismarck. Oh my goodness. I don't know who Mark was talking about a moment ago. We did say that we wanted to go to the Bahamas, and he came to Bismarck. We also told him we wanted to go to Grand Cayman, and he took us to Grand Rapids. Other than that, no problem at all. But I can tell you, we've been traveling now for 7 days on this book tour, and the warmth that you have, the genuineness that you show and exhibit is just major off the charts. And I just want you to know we are really glad, really, really glad to be here with you. So thank you for having us, and thank you for being so kind. Just incredible. And I want to share with you for a few minutes in this session something that's not in the book on Change Your World. We're going to talk a lot about changing your world. But one of the things Rob and I really work hard intentionally to do is to add value to people. And what I mean by adding value to people, we'll talk about the book. You'll have the book. You'll be getting books for people, and they're going to be in your transformation table. But we want to give you something beyond the book, something that would be very helpful to you, that would just kind of add value to you where you are, because that's what we try to do. We try to always exceed expectations. And in doing that, we were talking about what could I share with you that would help you. And I'm going to share with you a very simple lesson on questions I ask myself. There will be 5 of them. Questions that I ask myself when leading people in a difficult time. And I've never given this teaching, by the way, before the book tour. This is new. This isn't any book of mine. This isn't on any podcast or anything that I'm doing right now. But we just kind of wanted to be fresh for you and give you something that would help you where you are. And what I love is I haven't even started giving you the 5 questions, and you already got your pads out. You got your iPhones out. You're with it. I mean, you're ready. You are. In fact, you're saying, would you give us the questions? Would you just shut up and give us the questions? And this is so refreshing because, oh my gosh, we were in Houston yesterday. And I'm just going to tell you, they're good people. But it's obvious they're not as sharp as you. It's just obvious that it's just so obvious. So obvious. And I'm so glad to be here. And I would like to spend more time with you, but I think in January, you ought to come to Florida. Mark, did you notice something? All these people understand something you don't understand. Every one of them. I said, I think at this time of the year, you ought to come to Florida. And they just went crazy. They just went crazy. See, Mark, he's a good man. He's a good man. But Mark, when we did this book tour, brought us to Bismarck in January. See, in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, one of the laws in the 21 laws is the law of timing. Don't you think my CEO ought to read that book? Huh? The law. See, every one of us in here understand the law of timing. Everyone but you, Mark. But you're a good man. You're a good man. And so I'm very excited about what I'm going to share with you about these 5 simple questions that you ask yourself when you want to lead people during a very difficult time. Because, we've gone through COVID, we've gone through major difficulty. But let me just say this. If you're a leader, there are many difficult times. It's not like it gets easy. In fact, during the difficult times, that's when leaders are needed the very most. And so these 5 questions I'm going to give you, every one of you not only can ask yourself the questions, every one of you can answer yes. So I like this because every one of you can apply this to your life today. And so this means all of us, okay? In fact, look at your neighbor and say to them, even you can do this. Even you. Oh, don't you like? And then you like the emphasis on you. Okay, look. Yeah, now, here's where you go. Even you can do this. You got it? Okay, you ready? Even you can do this. Isn't that fun? That's so good. I'm ready to go. Question number one. And as I give you this question, even you could do this. Question number one. I ask myself, what am I feeling? During a difficult time, the first thing I ask is an emotional question. And I'm asking myself, during this dark time, what am I feeling? The reason that this is the first question, I will give these two in sequence. The reason this is the first question is during difficult times, people emotionally sometimes feel discouraged, depressed, overwhelmed. But the prominent thing in their life is how they're feeling. They're I didn't see this coming. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised. I don't know how to respond to it. So that people are already emotionally involved in the game. And as a leader, one of the first things you want to do with people is you want to connect with your people and you want to find common ground. And the place to find common ground with them is with their emotions. Let me put it this way. When a person is going through a difficult time, nothing is more encouraging to them than for their leader to be able to say to them, I know how you feel. I understand. I personally am asking some questions. What they don't need is their leader to be in front of them. During a difficult time in the beginning, they need their leader to be beside them. They need me to walk with you and let you know that your feelings aren't out of line or that you're not weird or odd for, being mad, upset, angry, depressed, discouraged, whatever that emotion is. I want to immediately come and find common ground with you and let you know that I am human also and that I don't have all the answers. And there are times when I'm blindsided. And the moment that you know that the person that you respect as a leader understands this walk that you're going through, it's at that moment that you begin to be emotionally connected with them. And this is essential in leadership. So many times we want to give answers while people are emotional. In fact, there are times as a leader, we really don't do anything for a period of time. We just feel and sense and listen. Oh, that's huge. Listen. In fact, great leaders, what they do is they listen, they learn, and then they lead. But they don't lead first. They listen first. And in their listening, they learn. And out of their learning, now they get all of their leadership clues of how to lead the people around them. And this is just absolutely beautiful. People in trying times want to visually see you, and they want to feel in proximity that you're close to them. We hear an expression often, and people think it's a leadership expression. It's not, but we hear it often. We'll hear somebody, and they'll say something like, it's lonely at the top. And it's like they're on this mountain, and they're all alone up on the mountain, and they're looking down, and there are all their people. I'm going, oh my God. Look at them, look. Oh my. It's lonely at the top. Now, a leader never said that. Never. Because you see, you identify a leader by the fact that people are with them. So if you're lonely at the top, you're not a leader. You're a hiker. Yeah. You're taking a hike. Because what leaders do is leaders, they find their people before they lead their people. And so I'm going to tell you, if you're lonely at the top, get off the top. By the way, if you're lonely at the top, it's not the fact that you're an amazing leader. It's probably because you have dysfunctional in your relationships. Nobody likes you. So go down, find the people, because what leaders do is leaders bring their people with them. So as they're climbing up the mountain, they're not climbing alone. They're climbing with their people. Schwarzkopf, the great general during Desert Storm, basically said, what's beautiful about taking people to the top, the closer you get them to the top, the closer you are to the top yourself. That's the picture we want to have. In fact, leaders never win a speed race. If you really want to win a speed race, you don't take anybody with you. You just take off by yourself. You want to cross that finish line first. You see, if you take people with you, you automatically slow down. I'm taking my people with me. And when I cross the finish line, I don't cross the finish line alone. It's not me, it's we. And all of a sudden, we cross the finish line alone. We celebrate together. So you slow down during a crisis by connecting with people, first of all, emotionally. And you do that by asking yourself, how do I feel? Get in touch with yourself, with your own feelings. And be very open. Don't try to put on bravado for the people. I don't think people want a perfect leader, but I do know they want an authentic leader. They just want a leader that says, yeah, we're in this together. And yeah, I've got some questions. And yeah, there are some times I get discouraged in this process. That's what they want. That is the way that leaders connect with their people. So what am I feeling? That's question number one. Question number two. What am I seeing? What do I see? Now we're going to go to what we visually see as a person, as a leader. And this is essential because this is where leadership begins to help people. You connect with people on a feeling basis on level one, or question number one. But now we're talking about, what do I see? And what we need to know about leaders is that all leaders, regardless of country, regardless of culture, there's only one characteristic that all leaders have that's the same. There's one qualifying characteristic of leaders. You see them everywhere. And that characteristic is that leaders see more than others see. That's what makes you a leader. And they also see before others see. They see more, they see before. That's a fact. And so therefore, during a difficult time when things get a little dark, leaders are asking themselves, what do I see? Because what they know is their picture is bigger than most of the people's. In fact, during a crisis, during a difficult time, most people's picture shrinks. It gets smaller. Because during a difficult time, we begin to think of ourselves, and when we begin to think of ourselves, we begin to ask ourselves, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family? Am I going to lose my job? And all of a sudden, that picture of maybe having other people in it begins to get smaller and smaller until the only person in the picture is me. And that's not good, because one is too small of a number to achieve greatness. So as the picture gets smaller, I become less effective. So what does a leader do? A leader looks and sees the bigger picture and then comes alongside the people to help them see beyond themselves. You see, an immature person sees everything from their personal perspective, their only perspective. That's why they're immature. They just see it. They just see it from, I just see it from how I think and what I'm seeing. A mature person sees everything from another person's perspective. That's how do you become mature? It's very simple. You become mature by being able to see perspective of other people besides your own. Every once in a while I'll run to people and they'll say, well, he's not mature, but he's very young, and he'll get older. He'll grow out of it. And I don't find that necessarily true. I see a lot of people, they're getting older, but they're not getting any more mature. How many of you know older people that maybe see only from their own perspective? How many of you? Yeah, sure, of course. How many of you are sitting beside that person right now? Don't do that. Don't do that. So I ask myself, what do I see? The reason that is so important is for a person to get better during a difficult time, they're going to have to see more. So as my feelings connect me with you, what I see allows you to have hope. In Change Your World, which Rob and Mark and I are going to talk about in a few minutes, in Change Your World, this is a book of hope. But let me tell you something. There is no hope without help. If there's no help, it can be optimism, but it won't be. No. Hope has an active helping process into it. In fact, when you open up Change Your World, you're going to see and read these words. Hope has two beautiful daughters. Anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, and courage to make sure they don't stay the same. And it's the courage part that gives people hope. It's the action part that gives hope. So what do I see? Well, I want to help other people see a little bit of a bigger picture, because that's where the light is. That's where the courage is. That's where the hope is. And by the way, while I'm talking about what do I see, it's possible for two people to see the same situation and come back with different conclusions. And so I would share with you, during difficult times such as this, we have a choice. Every one of us have a choice today. We can either curse the darkness or turn on the light. And leaders turn on the light. Cursing the darkness has no value to it. No one ever got a better life or improved by saying what they didn't like. You can't maintain a movement and build a movement out of anger. Anger, yes, I don't like the way things are. Every one of us ought to feel that we want to make things better, but courage to make a difference. And so when I see things others don't see, I give them that light of courage. So that's the second question I ask myself. There's a third question. Not only what do I feel and what do I see? Question number 3. What am I thinking? Each question that you ask in the sequence of these 5 allows the leader to lift the people. Question number 1 lets me connect with you, but question number 2 lets me lift you with vision. Now I'm going to lift you with the mind. Because the biggest gap between successful and unsuccessful people is how they think. This is life-changing, how they think. Successful people think differently than unsuccessful people. I didn't say they were smarter. I didn't even say they had a bigger IQ. I'm just telling you, successful people think differently. For example, when faced with adversity and difficulty, people that are unsuccessful will ask themselves the question, can I? Wow, this is a dark time. Can I find an answer? Can I find my way out? And when you ask the question, can I, you're always leaving room for failure. You're always leaving room for excuses. Oh, well, can I? Well, wow, that was tough. I guess I can't. You see, the difference in thinking, I'm going to illustrate with one word. You can either ask yourself the word or the phrase, can I? Or you can ask yourself, how can I? And how can I is an entirely different question, because now I have already bought into the idea that I'm going to find an answer. I'm no longer asking, can I? I'm asking, how can I? Which means I'm already determined to do it. Now I just got to figure out how to do it. And one of the reasons Rob and I are absolutely ecstatic about Change Your World is this. Most people want to make a difference. They just don't know how to make a difference. I know you. If I could, and boy would I like to do this, if I could walk off of this stage and I could come down and I could just sit beside you. The first thing I'd do is I'd say, hi, my name is John. I'm your friend. And as I would sit beside you, I promise you, if I said, would you like to make a difference? Every one of you, 100% of you in this room, you'd say, yes, John, I really want to make a difference. I understand that. But the challenge is, how can I make that difference? I can still remember sitting with my mentor, Les Parrott. He had written 5 books. I was just in my 20s. I had no desire to write a book. I had no desire to be an author. I liked to read books. I didn't want to write books. But he had written 5 books, and I said, Les, why do you write books? And he said, John, I write books to extend my influence beyond my personal touch. I want to help people that I'll never meet. I want to add value to people that I'll never know. That's why I write books. And the moment he told me his reason for writing books, I looked right at him and I said, I'm going to write books. I'm going to write books. And I never have ever hesitated since that time. But I don't write books to be an author, to write books. I write books to add value to you. I mean, think of the people here in this room right now that it was a book that you read of mine, maybe 5 years, 10 years ago, made me like you. You showed me a. Do you have that book? You showed me a book. This is disgusting. Look at this. Look at this. This is a 20-year-old picture. And he brings this book to me. And I mean, I looked at it and I thought, gosh, I think I know that person. Did I sign it to you? I didn't sign it to you. Here, thank you, John. Is it Kent? K, yeah. Kent. Next time, bring a book that isn't so old. Your friend, and I just crossed out friend. See, you think I'm kidding. Look here. See, I just crossed that out. I just crossed that out. Come over here. Get a picture of this. Come here. Come here. Come here. Just look here. And get close enough to see where I crossed out friend. Okay, get a picture. Huh? See how that works?
That's awesome. Pardon?
I love it. He's not mad at all. Wait, excuse me. No, come over here. Come over here. I see what you're doing. You're trying to sneak in a selfie. I see it. I see it. I mean, we're trying to change your world, and you're trying to get a selfie. Come on. I'm having fun with you too. Hey, wait. One more. Thank you, Ken. Really, honestly, just thanks for coming, and may we never see each other again. But when a leader, do you say, I had 5 questions, kid. We're not on questions at all now. Do you understand how we've completely lost our way because of that picture? Wait, bring the book back one more time. Give me the pen. I've just got an idea. This'll, and then I'm going to give you question number 4. Just give me that for a second. I've never done this before. This is just like beautiful. Isn't that super? Look at that. I love that. It's all yours. Woo. Wait, I got a better idea. Give me the pen back. No, I got a better idea. Ken, quit putting the book away, would you? Okay, stay with me. Get in the game. Give me the book. Yeah, the same book. Oh. This is even better. Watch this. A target for target practice. There you are. How's that, huh? Question number 4. By the way, I didn't do that in Houston. In fact, I've never done that before in my life. You have the only leadership goal book that's crossed out and got a bullseye on it at the very same time. You say, I don't know which to do, forget him or shoot him. First question, what do I feel? Second question, what do I see? Third question, what do I think? Question number 4. Before I give you question number 4, let me ask you a question. Are you learning something? Are you learning something? Huh? So I can go on? Okay, question number 4. What do I know? What do I know? You see, during difficult times, people are insecure. And what they're really wanting is a leader that can give them some security. I've already said that authenticity is what people want. So I'm not talking about when I say, what do I know, that I have to know everything and I have to have an answer for everything. Because during a difficult time, there are a lot of things I don't know and there are a lot of answers I don't have. But I don't want you to miss this. Here's what I know, and here's what I want the people that follow me and are part of my team. Here's what I want them to know, because I know it too. What I want them to know is during the darkest hour, the most difficult hill to climb that we can ever go through, the time when they honestly wonder if they can really make it, here's what I want every one of you to know. There is always an answer. There is always a way out. Always an answer. So there's always an answer. And what people need from their leader is a confidence, a strength that the people know. That although their leader may not have all the answers, the leader knows there's an answer. And what that does is that keeps me in the game. That keeps me from quitting, giving up, being frustrated. There's always an answer. And we're going to find that answer. You see, I'm 73. And I have a lot less certainties in my life at 73 than I had at 23. At 23, oh my. I was awesome. Oh, I was awesome. I wish you knew me when I was 23. I think you did with the picture there. When I was 23, I had answers for anything. I was a young leader, and all you had to do is ask a question. And I just give you an answer, and I was kind of like, Mr. Answer it. Now, just before I give you this is, please tell Ken, this comes from Aaron, our content curator, we will send him a brand new book. Aaron, you're as bad as Ken. You're both interrupting a good talk. And Ken, she's right. I'll send you a brand new book, unsigned. Nope. I'm going to send you a brand new book, and I'm going to sign it to you. Just you make sure that we have your address, okay? And I may even send you a couple other books. Will you read them? When I was young at 23, I had certainties. I was amazing. I was a pastor for 25 years, and I was amazing. One of the things, when I was 23, I had 4 messages that were awesome about how to raise children. I mean, major. And then we had children. Boy, life knocks the certainties out of us, doesn't it, huh? Doesn't life? No, I mean, you want to be humble, just be a parent. I mean, our first child, Elizabeth was beautiful and wonderful, and she was easy, and we thought we'd have 10 children, and then we had Joel. If Joel would have been the first child, he'd been the only child. So as I've gotten older, I have a lot less certainties, but can I tell you something? I have fewer certainties today than I've ever had before, but I'm more certain about my certainties today than I've ever been in my life. The certainties I have now are really solid. And one of the certainties I have, without any question, is the fact that there's always an answer. In fact, let me tell you something. There's usually more than one answer. And I know that for a fact. So when people come and during a difficult time, you ask yourself, what do I know? What I know is, I don't like where we are, but I do know we can get somewhere that's going to be better. There's always an answer. Leaders are dealers in hope. Throw the hope rope out to people. That was good, wasn't it? Hope rope. Did you get it? Yeah. Don't throw hope dope at them. That's just feeling. Throw the hope rope. Question number 5. You are an awesome audience. I got to bring the boys up here. We're going to talk to you about how you can change your world. Question number 5. What do I do? What do I do? One of the things leaders know is that during difficult times, they need to get their people taking action. The tendency for us during difficult times is to withdraw, hold steady, not do anything. I had a stewardship company that helped churches raise money for building programs and land. We literally raised billions of dollars for congregations all across America. And during 9/11, that year of 9/11, before the disaster, every week we signed a contract with a different church across America to help them raise money for their building programs. And when 9/11 hit, from 9/11 to the end of the year, we never signed another contract with a church. Because all of a sudden people panicked, and what happened, and why did this happen? And they did what we all did, they froze. And what leaders do, and what leaders know is this: when people all of a sudden stop, give them enough time to catch their breath and emotionally kind of work themselves through it. You give them a little bit of time, but then what you need to do is you need to give them an action plan. People need to get back in the game. And Change Your World is coming at a beautiful time, a very difficult time, a very dark time, but it's a plan of action. It's not based on theory, because we have literally what we're going to share with you. We have brought millions of people through this process, and we've had people go into transformation tables and embrace good values, and we've seen the incredible change in people's life. So this isn't a theory book or a good idea book or a hope so book. No. This is a book in which we say we have a plan, we have a game plan, and we're going to share that with you. So I'm going to bring up Mark Cole, who literally runs the John Maxwell Enterprise, and Rob Hoskins, my co-author, to the stage, and I want you to greet them like you greeted me. Come on, hop on up here. Rob Hoskins.
Thank you.
Mark Cole.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Bismarck.
Yeah.
Aren't they wonderful?
Oh man, Mark was so wrong.
Oh man, I mean, it's just. Aren't you glad we talked Mark into coming to Bismarck?
He tried to talk us out of it so many
He wanted
times.
to go to the Bahamas.
I know.
And we said, no, we must go to Bismarck. I'm so glad we held our own.
Yes.
Bismarck, you make me proud. You just make me proud. Hey, also, John, Janet's watching from Minneapolis.
Yes. It's cold there, too.
Connie is watching from California and says, great to see the world coming together.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is
you
great
love
to
that
see.
comment?
It's great to
time.
see us coming together. It's about time.
Yeah. Julie from the Philippines, good morning. It's 6 a.m.
All right.
And she's watching from the Philippines. Scott is in the Royal Air Force Base, and he's watching from United Kingdom right now. Thank you for your service,
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for your
Thank
service.
you.
Yeah.
And Fred, you get the award. He's tuning in from Kenya. It's 1 a.m. there. Fred, go to bed.
Not yet.
Stay up 35 minutes
just a little bit
longer.
more.
Just a little longer.
John, they all are asking the same thing. What's next? What do we do? Why are we
Yeah.
doing this? And really, you've got your notepads out, your pens. You're typing so well in here. There's really three things you need to do at this website, changeyourworld.com. That's where you write down the URL, changeyourworld.com. We've got a web environment, a Change Your World community that we have created. And there's three steps there. Get the book, take the assessment, and this assessment is an assessment on the 25 values in the book that John and Rob talk about, and it just ranks you and lets you see how well you're doing on these values. We'll send you a report. And then you get to join the movement. Step number 3, join the movement, which is a round table community of 6 to 8 people that begin to up-level your values. So that's it. Get the book, take the assessment, join the movement, and all that's at changeyourworld.com. And that kind of answers all of their questions, because I really got to ask you, John, 86 books, it's less than 5.
Three books.
3 books that you have co-written before this one. And then you decided that this book, the most important book you've said in your life, should be written by Rob Hoskins, or co-written by Rob Hoskins. Why? What was behind that decision?
It's very simple. I needed help. My name's John. I'm your friend. I needed help, and what I mean by that is transformation, changing your world is a very important subject that's bigger than me. And so, Mark, when I looked at what I wanted to write, I said, I really need to find somebody bigger, faster, smarter, more experienced, more successful than me. And I've known Rob for several years, and he's the CEO of One Hope. And honestly, when it comes to transformation, changing lives, he has done so much longer, so much better than I have. And I said, I've got to go, I need help. And one of the things I learned a long time ago is that if you'll partner with people bigger and better than you, they make you better. And this book is a great book, but one of the reasons it's so great, Rob, is because you helped me, and you helped me big time, and you're going to help them. And so that's why I needed help, and I looked and I said, Rob's the guy. He's just an incredible transformational leader. And so we did it together, and because we did it together, it's better than I would have done it by myself.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, that's good. So, Rob, I happened to be with you and John when this book was birthed from an idea. You were in the middle or had just completed your dissertation on transformation, had all these young people that you had equipped with material, and now you were ready to put it in a book. And John asked you, what made you say yes?
Is that what you got?
Yeah, that's my question.
Let's think about the question. Why write a book with John Maxwell? That seriously was, is that the question you guys just, I think that's what I did.
Is that the best he can do? Is that the best he can do?
Okay, wait, I got an answer. I got one. Okay, why play golf with Jack Nicklaus? How's that? Why play basketball with Michael Jordan? I mean, seriously, here is, for me, one of my heroes. One of our heroes, right? And someone that I believe is really one of the great communicators of our lifetime, that has been able to take, I know John's writing has done this for me. It's done it for so many of us. It's done it for millions of people. He takes concepts sometimes that we can't really get our minds around, that are complex, that are difficult, and he makes them so simple. He makes them so attainable. We read the words and we say, you know what, I could do that. I could do that. And the title on this book is Change Your World, How Anyone, Anywhere Can Make a Difference.
Yeah.
And I just thought there's no one like John that can write a book like that. To make these concepts of allowing me and my own life and my personal self and my family and my community and the world that so desperately needs change, that needs transformation, and how to make that happen. And I find transformation is a very popular word now. There's a lot of people that say the word transformation, but really very few people I know that have really been able to define what transformation is. Fewer still that have made it happen and can tell you how they made it happen. And really only a handful that I know in the world today that have the capacity and the desire and the will and the volition to really take transformation on a global scale. And friends, we're in the presence of the person I think that can do that, and that's John and his team and Mark and them. To be able to say, let's start a transformational movement that's going to touch the world. And this world needs changing. And so this is much more than a book. Yeah. We said from the very, in fact, we were sitting on, when it happened, that moment you were talking about, we were all together. We were sitting on a boat actually in Fort Lauderdale. And John was just pouring into me, and this man has mentored me for many years, and we were talking about this subject that has really consumed us, John, for the last years. It's our favorite subject to talk about, transformation. How's it happening? Where is it happening? How's it happening in our lives personally and in our organizations? And we didn't just talk about it through the years, Mark. We've actually been building programs together and measuring them and making sure that change is really being provided. John's life has all been about, and my life has been about providing value to people and making sure that there's change that's coming into their lives. And so we were talking about that on the boat, and we were excited about some things that we were seeing. And so I started talking about this dissertation that I had just written, sort of on the science of transformation. And how, more importantly, do movements of transformation happen? And so I was going through it with John, and as my mentor, I asked him as my mentor to help me. I said, John, I know that some of these principles are powerful, but I probably know that only 5 people are going to read my dissertation, if I'm lucky, as an academic work. And I said, but John, is there a popular book in here? Can we take some of these things that I've written about, some of these things that we've learned, and can we make it available? Can I make it available to masses? Can it be popular? And John said, absolutely, Rob. It's absolutely possible. And then he turned to me and he said, can I write that book with you? And I paused for a moment just to make sure I'd heard what he had actually said, and then I said, well, let me think about it, yes. No. He says I took 2.2 seconds. It did not take me that long, I'm telling you. Mark, you were there.
I'm not in this.
It took him that long. He was very slow. Very slow.
And again, the reason was because I knew it was going to be more than a book. And it really is. From the very beginning, it's been about more than a book. The book's essential. I mean, this is, and as John said, it's not a theoretical book. It's not an academic. It is a book built around what works, what we've seen happen in more than 30 years of my life of working around the world in 177 countries, 300 different transformational programs that we've been able to build. It's John's life of 40 years of investing in people and seeing how change takes. It's all of that that's in the book. And then we just said, we're going to tell you stories. And the book is filled with these stories of transformation. And as I said, how anyone, anywhere can make a difference. There's some big stories in the book. Yeah. I mean, there's some stories of people that have incredible influence, that are, have some of the largest companies in the world, government leaders and officials that with huge reach, and their stories are in there. And some of those stories are amazing because there's a story in there of someone who'd been so successful in his life, but yet he came to a place where his son was in desperate, desperate need. And when you come to that place, I don't care how much success you've had in your life, you feel like you have no significance when those that you love are hurting and it doesn't seem like change is possible for them. And it's a story of my friend Roy and how he, in his relationship with his son, began to apply some of these principles, and he began to see amazing transformation happen in his own family. And then others began to see it. Now that's turned into an amazing movement that's sweeping across the country. But it's not just about people like Roy. It's the story of Tiffany's in here, a young lady that I met in Lima, Peru, in a school, and I was just so taken by her joy, her overwhelm. In one of the poorest places I'd ever been, she was overflowing with joy. And I said, this girl's got something special. And so I wanted to know her more. And I went home, and actually that day they were repossessing the roof of her house. Her father was drunk that day. I found out that she was being abused. And on paper, Tiffany should be a statistic. And instead, I can see that young lady who is now absolutely transforming the educational country where she now lives. You see, change is possible for anyone, anywhere.
That's right.
That's what I know. That's what I know.
There were really two prevailing ideas that my team, George, some of our team that's here, our team that's worked on this project, there were two prevailing thoughts. One, make it wide. It's got to be popular. Make it simple, John, is the way you said it. Do not complicate it. And then you said, we've got to go deep. We've got to show results. And so we kind of had that. And then you said, it's got to be mass. It's got to be magnitude, as if 1.7 billion and 1.2 million every single school day in Guatemala, 1.2 million kids are in your values-based roundtables every single weekday. Yeah. That's mass. But they said, whoa, wait. I don't want to talk about some story in some faraway place. I want to make it applicable to everyone, everywhere. How do we do on that, I guess I would say, and then how do we apply that to the people sitting in this room, the people watching from all over the world?
Well, you do it around a table. The reason we talk about anyone, anytime, anywhere can do this is because you change your world one table at a time. And what we found is when you have 6 or 8 people studying, talking about, practicing good values, transformation begins to happen. And here's why. For transformation to happen, there are 3 questions that people ask that have to be answered. And the 3 questions are, do you care for me? Can you help me? And can I trust you? Mm-hmm. And in that table, those 3 questions are answered. You after a few weeks know that people care for you. After a few weeks, you're finding because of different perspectives that they're beginning to help you. And you begin to develop a table of trust. Nowhere are those 3 questions answered as good as in a small group. And how do we change our world? Well, Mother Teresa, they said, how do you feed the world? one person at a time. How do you transform the world? One table at a time. And what we're so excited about is that in the book, we have an entire chapter on transformation tables, so you can read up it and know exactly what it is. We have an entire chapter on values, which you begin to understand the value of values. And we know it works because we've practiced it. We've done it with millions of people. And what's so exciting is now we're bringing it to America. Has there ever been a time when America needs this message more than right now? I mean, this is our time, folks. This is our time. I was asked the question because we're in public schools with this material. And people say, well, do you think they're going to let it happen in America's public schools? Of course I do. Let me tell you why. The public schools have no answer. Education keeps going down. Desperate people, after a while, say, we'll take anything that'll make us better. It's just a matter of time. And I don't want you to, I'm not going to say it now, but before we wrap this up this afternoon, I want you to tell them what's happening in Knoxville with the schools. But we don't want to do that now. Let's do that later, okay?
Yeah. And the foundation of the whole book, as John said, is that subject matter around those tables is about values.
Yes.
That there is no change that happens if it's not on a firm foundation. And these 25 transformational values that we identified as creating positive change. You see, I've always learned from John, as one of my mentors, that, a vision without action is just a dream. But what we talk about in the book is action without values is a nightmare. We're seeing a lot of action. We're seeing a lot of anger expressed. We're seeing a lot of people crying at the darkness. We're seeing a lot of people march on streets. We're seeing a lot of people take action. But I'll tell you what, if our values are not foundational to everything we're doing and we're not creating positive change, then we're not going to see positive transformation.
That's right.
And so that's why everything we do, and I'll take one of them. Someone asked me in one of these sessions, they said, Rob, what's your favorite value? I said, well, the name of my organization is One Hope. I'll give you one guess. What's my favorite value in the book? I mean, it's hope. It's hope. And hope is just one of these powerful transformational values. Now, John said it earlier, hope is more than an emotion. So it's the teachings of these values and how to measure whether those values, that's why we have an assessment. The first thing you're going to do when you come to the platform is you take an assessment test. Where am I on these 25 values? Which ones are natural to me, that are very strong in my life? Which ones do I need to do better in? I mean, John's always taught me as a leader, I want to grow every day. I want to get better every day. I want these values that perhaps I'm weak on to grow stronger in my life. And one of those is hope. So when we teach on hope, when we teach the value, and we will around these tables, hope, actually, there's a science behind it. I've studied the science of hope. Hope has 3 major characteristics. Number 1, there is no hope without goals. I mean, you can talk all you want, but until you start setting goals, you're really not going to have hope. The second characteristic of hope is something called willpower. You have to have the actual will in order. True hope will not come until you are inspired towards that hope. And that's why I love John. I mean, this guy he's Mr. Willpower. He's Mr. Inspiration. If you're around him anywhere and if you don't feel inspired after you spend a few minutes with this guy, you're probably dead. Just carry the person out of the room. They can't be inspired. They won't be. That's why I love John. I walk away every time with hope in my life because he's given me so much inspiration. That's an element. But the third element of hope is way power. And that means that you have to see a pathway to hope. Yeah. You have to be able, John said there's no hope without help. That those goals, that inspiration, that way power is the way we find hope. And I think people are so desperate for hope right now. People are looking for answers. They're looking for change everywhere.
So true.
I want to tell you, the journey that we're going on together is so that you can be that person that brings the hope. That you can be the one to help them start setting the goals and be inspired and have the willpower and have the way power. And I don't know what it is that you have come to this meeting wanting to change. What transformation you want to see in your life. It might be your child. It might be your neighborhood. It might be this community, education, the business that you started. What I know is that there are people that you love, that you want to bring change into their life. And that's what John and I have committed our entire lives to, is providing that. Now we've taken everything we've learned and we've put it into this.
Yeah.
And we've said we want to serve you, we want to walk with you. We make a promise. We were writing the last chapter in March of 2020. In the middle of COVID, we were writing the 9th chapter of this book. If you don't think we felt the weight of that moment, to say this book has to provide answers. And so we make a promise in that 9th chapter. We said this is the start of a journey because we don't want this to be a book. We want to see a transformational movement around the world. And we make a promise that we're going to go with you on that journey. From this day forward, we're going to go on a journey with you, and together we believe we can make a difference in our world. Do you want to go on that journey? Let's do it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
We've been doing this for a week, and we have this website. We've created this online tool for people to gather around a virtual roundtable all around the world. We've had over 6,000 people already take the assessment. And when people take the assessment, get the report, 100% of them come back to Change Your World and spend over 7 minutes determining how to get into take the next step. If you're involved in that world at all, you know that is huge, and that's because people are catching the vision. Now, we'll land in Salt Lake City in about 3 hours. I know there's going to be about 500 new people take the assessment just because of Bismarck, because you guys have already made me proud, but that's going to happen in here too, right? Don't leave me now. You're going to go take the assessment, right? That's a good time to clap. There you go. Because we're seeing a movement, and we're seeing it around the world, and we're seeing people at the end of every one of these digital events go in and begin the movement. What I'd love to do is I'd love to get a couple of questions to you guys from our online community. We're going to probably have time for 1, maybe 2 in here. So if you want to ask a question, there's 2 mics up front. Let me go to Nigeria. And by the way, Thompson is watching from Nigeria, and he says we're going to change Nigeria 1 table at a time.
He gets it.
That's it, Thompson.
He gets it. He gets it. David and Thomas, y'all need to meet each other and do it, because David asked the question, what is the right time to lead? How much leadership energy must you have inside of you before you attempt the responsibility of leading others?
Well, leadership is at its best when the hour is the darkest. Really, during good times, leadership's good, but you don't have to put the press to it. But during difficult times, people are looking for answers. And so I would say to all of you online, I would say to all of you here in North Dakota, I would say to all of you that this is the time to act. Good intentions is overrated. Nobody has ever had their life changed because somebody had good intentions. In fact, let me just say this. The smallest action is better than the biggest good intention.
Wow.
Just the smallest action. And so the question was, how do we get you to take the smallest action? That's why we made this simple. And what I love is when they read the book, changeyourworld.com, changeyourworld.com. That's where you get your assessment. But that's where we'll send you the information for the material for the table. It's where we'll send you, if you homeschool or if you are a teacher and you want to begin to put this material in the classroom. This is all free. This is all online. You go, you get it, you go, and you start having your tables. And we did all of this. We made a commitment to do all this to make it simple, so that we could create this movement. And what really is so exciting to me is every place that we've gone, including here in Bismarck, every place that we've gone, Rob, we've had the same reception. Yeah. It's almost like all of you are saying, we have been waiting for something. Mm-hmm. We've been waiting for something that can just make a difference, and all of a sudden, we've got it. And that is the greatest thrill that any of us could have. And by the way, it's us doing it together. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's all about us.
Come on.
It's all about us. And let's just put aside all the differences we have, and let's surround ourselves and be committed to values. Because when people learn good values and when people live good values, they become more valuable. They become more valuable to themselves. They become more valuable to their children. And if you don't know where to start your transformations table, start it with your kids. But what we discovered is in all the 8 areas of influence in a culture, whether it's government, business, education, media, arts, religion, sports, or health, in all of these 8 areas, we're finding this to be successful ever. We're finding businesses who do transformation tables with their employees, life-changing. We're seeing it in the classroom, life-changing. We're seeing it at the top of government, life-changing. In every area, we're seeing it. And you have influence. So take the table, take the values, and we will go with you. That's a promise. I'm just calming down now. Just down, boy. Down.
No, okay. Stay up. We like this. We like this.
You know, Mark, we're excited because we started just 5 days ago with it, but we've been working on this for years, and now it's happening. And I've been part of movements, and you almost know immediately, like does this have energy? Does this have, let me tell you, I mean, it is just, there is such a hunger in people. There's such a desire in people to see change. We just saw, while we were on the tour, I saw about what were the leading searches in 2020. And I was so encouraged. I shared it with you guys right away. I mean, because with these searches that were taking place, coming out in 2020, I found that double the amount of people searched how to change the world than how to go back to normal. People want to change. People want to change the world. Because you know what? Normal wasn't that great.
No.
How many of you want to say, wow, I want to be normal?
Come on.
If I could only be normal.
Come on.
I mean, when I was dating my wife, and my friends came to me and say, wow, what's Kim like? She's normal. Boy, ladies, you'd love that, wouldn't you? Yeah. Got out of school. I got a job. I got this job. How is it? It's so normal. Such a normal job. Yeah. We weren't built for normal.
No.
None of us were built for normal. I don't want to go back to normal. I want to go forward to extraordinary. I want to see the world change.
That's it.
And this is what it's about. And it's happening.
So Ellie West said, I'm so excited, my heart is jumping.
Come on.
And Kim Sharp said, the excitement is contagious. Please don't stop your passion. So no down, boy. Get up, boy. Let's go.
Up, boy.
We gotta go. Hey, I want to ask you one more question from Josh. It's a great question. He says, what's your favorite way to add value to people?
Be intentional. Most people accept their life. They don't lead their life.
Ooh.
And what I discovered a long time ago is the only way good things are going to happen is if I become intentional in making those happening. Go from good intentions to good actions. And so to me, it all begins with me right where I am in the world that I live, having the intention to, again, teach these values and pass these values on and share them with others. And I want you to be intentional today. I mean, I know you've got a book, but I want you, if you've got 6 or 8 people for a table, I want you to be intentional. I want you to get 6 or 8 books. And by the way, if you know who those 6 or 8 people you want to start your transformation table with, if you go out and get the books, Rob and I will sign it and we'll put their names there. Yeah. And think how incredibly beautiful it's going to be for you to sit around the table. That's going to be huge.
Kazim, she says, this is so timely. What can I do to be a part of the movement? If you're okay.
That's exactly when John and I were writing the book, he said, Rob, if we do our job right, the first thing people will ask us is, now what do I do? Yeah. He said that. He said, if we do a good job of pouring our lives into this and telling the story correctly, if we did it right, then Kazim's question was going to be,
Yeah.
and here it is. That question's coming. It's coming every day since we started this.
Right.
And that's why we made it super simple.
Yeah, you know, Kazim, you didn't tell me where you're tuning in from, but that question has been a reoccurring question throughout this time. In fact, it reminds me of Greg's question the other day in Knoxville.
Yes.
When he said, I want to create a transformation, a movement, and I want to create a culture of transformation in my company. I'd love to tell what happened in Knoxville, and then you guys clean it up afterwards.
No,
but
this
we
is
were
good.
in Knoxville 3 or 4 days ago. Greg asked the question, again, much like you, Kazim, and said, what can I do to create this transformational culture? And so we were answering the question, and sitting in the audience was the school superintendent of Knox County. He said, I have 4,000 teachers, 4,000 educators in Knox County and Knoxville, Tennessee, and I want to get the book in every one of their hands. And I've got this vision that if I can transform the teachers' thinking, then they will transform the kids' thinking. And if we transform the kids' thinking, we'll transform Knox County, and we'll see transformation in my city. It's like, you, sir, come up here and teach because you've got the message. Well, sitting over here in the audience was another guy. Well, the school superintendent said, hey, I want to do it. I'm going to do it. I just got to go solve the budget question. A leader stood right over here and said, I've got the solution for your budget question. I will donate the money to buy your 4,000 books this week if you'll start this week transformation in Knox County.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
Well, the very next day we were telling that same story in St. Louis, Missouri, and a guy had stood up. A bear is his name, and a bear stood up and said, "I've got these 60 leaders in El Salvador that I'm teaching, and John, I would really like to teach them Today Matters. So tell me how to teach them Today Matters." And John went, "Today Matters? Change Your World is the book you need to teach them. You need to teach them Change Your World," which I love that. That was exactly right. Well, sitting right behind him was Nathan, who runs Benchmark Mortgage. He's got a mortgage company, very successful. He's sitting right behind him. They have adopted 7 children out of El Salvador. He just began to weep. And he said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy your 60 books. If you'll go teach them, I will cover it because it's my passion to see transformation happen. And if you're going, let me fund it. You go and I'll fund. Standing right behind a bear and Nathan was a teacher, Casey. Casey's sitting back there. She's got 65 junior high school students in Missouri. And she said, guys, I'm sorry I'm eavesdropping, but I was standing in line to talk to Mark because I've got 65 students that wants to get involved in some kind of a learning community with an international student and see if we can learn how to change the narrative of the world and what they're doing with young people and not having values. She said, if ChangeYourWorld.com can create the environment, I've got 65 English-speaking kids that can help you with the 300 Spanish-speaking kids if we can create the environment. I said, you're not going to believe this, but Change Your World will allow you to do that. So sitting in Chesterfield, Missouri, was a guy that has 60 people, that has 300 students, that's now funded by the guy behind him, that's now going to be resourced in a learning environment with students here from the United States. You think this thing is working? I think it's working.
It's working.
Now, here's my challenge, and John's already said this, which always gets all my online community all messed up if the cameras don't go off and say, well, why can't John and Rob sign a box of books for us? So just know that I've got that question right here.
Sorry.
But here's what I'll do. I'll talk about this in Bismarck, but there's a responsibility when something comes to the city, and we'll talk about that. But let me talk to you on the online community. We're going to have one more experience tomorrow from Salt Lake City, and I'm going to challenge you. You need to bring somebody with you and be a part of this movement. It's happening. And it's not happening and we're saying, we're not creating scarcity, we're creating opportunity. We believe for such a time as this, God has brought you two together to see something happen in a world that is hurting, that is in deficit of leaders that value people. And we have the solution. We believe it. We have the message. And I'm going to remind you of how simple it is. ChangeYourWorld.com. Get the book, take the assessment, join the movement. Be a part of what's happening. And here in Bismarck, you're going to have the chance to not only get the book yourself, you're going to have a chance to get some books and take somebody on the journey. Online, get on the platform because we have 5,000 John Maxwell teen coaches. Any John Maxwell teen coaches in here today? There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
we have 5,000 that we have trained that is ready to lead a virtual roundtable that will then teach you how to go start your own roundtable. That's what we're doing. Guys, I took a long time.
No. So
awesome.
the people online, they literally can go in and get a virtual table.
Absolutely.
You can be part of one.
By the way, you don't know this, we already have 700 plus roundtables that have been started since we started on this.
On Monday.
700 people around the world, or 700 roundtables, that's 8 to 10 people around the world are getting together to talk about how can we embrace these values and change our
That's
world.
good.
Man. Wow.
Anything you guys would like to say before we send our online community off to go change the world?
You know, as you're talking, I think I've been getting response from people during the deal, and someone sent me something that said, I think you're oversimplifying things. I think you're oversimplifying transformation. It's a very complex subject. Look, dude, I got a doctorate in transformation. Okay,
There you go.
I mean, if we don't do anything, I can guarantee you, nothing's going to happen.
Amen. That is so right.
Nothing's going to happen. You can sit there and say all day, it's too complex, it's too hard, change is too difficult. We could all come up with a million reasons why not to do it. I'm so sick of not doing anything. Yeah. Let's just start. Let's just start. And here's what I said. I said, you know what? You don't have enough faith in people. Here's what I know. I've seen it. John's seen it. Mark's seen it. So many of us, you've seen it in your own lives. You get something started. And we know that when people have good content, they start learning about good values, they take an assessment, they become self-aware, they sit around a table with other people and start talking about it, I can guarantee you, stuff starts happening. And we're not prescribing what's going to happen. The people around the table start challenging others, and amazing things begin to happen. And not the things that we think should get started. I think people are so sick of leaders trying to prescribe to them, this is how you're going to change the world. No, it's people from their own desires, from their own passions, from their own loves, from the things that they see every day around them. You're the ones that are going to change your world. And I have faith that you're going to do it, and we're going to be here to equip you. Just start something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, success is about me and significance is about others. I want you to be successful. I want you to do well. I want you to have a wonderful career. I want you to provide well for your family. But there's another dimension of living beyond being successful, and that's being significant. I know a lot of successful people that are unhappy. They're not fulfilled. But I've never met a significant person who gives to others and pours their life into others. I've never met an unhappy, unfulfilled, significant person. Right. And 2021 is our year to be significant. We invite you to join this movement of significance. This year can be a life-changing highlight in your life because you found a way, a method, a process, a plan that you can really help other people. And so we're very excited about it. And here's what we know. Our belief in you will be rewarded because when you believe in people, they respond in a positive way. And we believe every one of you here, we believe every one of you online will have a significant year and you'll begin to change your world. And when you do that, we will be applauding and giving you a standing ovation because that's what we were created to do. Remember, what your career is what you get paid for, but your calling is what you're made for. And you are made for significance.
Absolutely.
Let's change our world. Help me thank John Maxwell, Rob Hoskins.
Thank you, guys. Come on, John. Oh, thanks, Mark.
And
Wow.
now, Bismarck, help me
guys.
thank our online community that came into our
Yeah.
room today. Thank you. Thank you. Let's change the world together.
Yes, yes, yes.